Did anyone order a cleric with a sight of sass? If so, I'm Dahlia Avalon. Wow, how do I keep this short and sweet? I grew up in the poor sector of New Averant and took care of Papa after my mother died when I was 6. Papa was not well after she passed, so I bounced around waitressing and spent any of my free time at the Temple of Cocobio since he helped me feel close to my mama. But it was hard making ends meet as a barmaid, so after some encouragement from my best friend Silic, I enlisted as a cleric in the Order of the Fallen Star. Next thing I know, I'm across the realm with a team of strangers that have quickly become my family. Sounds pretty straightforward, right? Ready for things to take a sharp left? Okay, let's see. Turns out Cocobio, the goddess of moon and stars, is not the most virtuous angel that we thought, and well, neither is New Averant. After defecting from the church and the government, I learned that Gala, the god of fate, is only a slightly less destructive hot mess. And now we're on god number 3, Halasna, goddess of sun and life. As Horai now travels the world as adventurers for hire. So far, so good there. I would totally hate if something bad were to happen to her. Oh wait, there's more. How could I forget? Turns out my mother descends from a long line of devil royalty, and not just any royalty, the Deimos clan, aka the Lord of the Shadowfell. My lineage gives me this devil form I can transform into, a natural foresight gift, or curse if you ask me, and a boatload full of family drama. I discovered I have a half-brother named Silic. Yeah, that's Silic. My mother at some point has been resurrected from the dead, and oh yeah, Deimos wants to use me as a conduit for his armies to infiltrate and conquer the Averant realm. Almost forgot to mention that part, it kinda haunts my dreams a lot. But it's not all doom and gloom in my world, promise. No, really, I have wonderful friends, hilarious and fun adventures, and I may have just met the love of my life amidst it all. Ejodakash is the only person I've ever met to stand right in the face of danger and swing his sword without a second thought. With as much fire and brimstone looming over our heads, I couldn't imagine living in a world without him and our friends by my side, and keeping me sane. So whatever New Averant, the gods, Deimos, or fate seem to have planned for all of us, I know that Horai will be ready to face it together. Because if we go down, we won't go down without the fight. We got this, right? Right?
Every group has its dark and mysterious member, and to Horiath, that would be me. I am Gajurakash Dromic, son of Zarmir and Nelian. I grew up in a small village within the elven kingdom of Nelethyr, known as Irobada. When my father left my mother, sister, and I when I was 15, and never returned, I aided my mother in running her apothecary. 3 years later, I would join my sister Medicona in serving the royal guard, becoming a personal bodyguard for Prince Juvenile Galakia. Just 2 years into my service, though, rumors of our forbidden romance would reach the king, and the following morning, after a fight with his son, the king was found dead in his room. Blame was placed on me, and with my mother's plea, I escaped the main kingdom. I spent the next 6 months running from guards before finally catching a ship off the continent. The pirate captain of the Phantom Chevron, Joff Potra, took me under his wing for the next 4.5 years. Well, until a failed raid by the crew left me behind in the kingdom of Abris, and I was captured by guards. Desperate to save my own life, I offered any information I had on the kingdom of Nelethyr, eventually capturing the attention of the Council of Nine. The tiefling Severus Toll had me released, and spent the following 2 years training me to be his personal spy. The next year, they shipped me off to join the Order of the Fallen Star, the army of New Averant. Here I would go by Gaiji Redfoe, and meet my team, now known as Horiath. It was only mere days into us being a group that we were sent out on various missions to destroy plagued villages, fight awoken gods in caves, and meet our now former commander, Silic Losran, and teammates Apollo and Ren. I would become a warlock of Losna during this time. An attack on our base gave us a promotion into the freelancer program, and gave us a ship, which we now call the Homeward Bound. I am the captain. We were sent to Solgaria, the Nalkadai. New Averant betrayed us there, and we fled to the Order of the Soaring Flame. There, Commander Vierithril asked us to clear a way to an Eltharian base on Alkadai. However, in our month-and-a-half mission to do so, we came across one of the sons of Bahamut, Anima. After kidnapping Zephinia, he sent her, Dira, Ren, and companion Treya 10 years into the future. Apollo, now Hades, Dahlia and I spent 10 years surviving so we could return to save our friends in Alkadai. Though we've recently lost Ran to their own missions, rescued Dira's parents, fought Dahlia's devilish grandfather, and I've proposed to my love, Dahlia. It's time for me to return to Nelethyr and set things right. Only time will tell if I'm successful.
As the story of Arachnaguy once said, who am I? You sure you want to know? The story of my life is not for the faint of heart. If somebody told you it was a happy tale, if somebody said I was just your average guy, not a care in the world, somebody lied. My name is Apollo. Abandoned by my mother at the Silverleaf Institute. As a baby, I grew up never knowing her or my father. I grew up living and learning all that I could from the school. Everyone was great. Well, not everyone. Well, really only a few people were nice. The Institute housed the wealthiest of children, mostly. The ones that could afford prodigious education, at least. Because I was an orphan that the school took in, I was seen as an outcast. And even worse, due to my abnormal tiefling appearance with wings and tail, I was seen as a freak. I spent most of my days with my head down and my nose in a good book. Books are wonderful. They show you amazing worlds and lead you on amazing adventures. Oh, just like my one favorite story, Shriek, where he goes on an adventure with his reluctant friend Mule and Shortbird Guy. Sorry, I get a bit carried away. Things went well until one day a lad in my studies picked a fight with me. It was then that I discovered I had magical aptitude and at the same moment lost control of it. A fireball erupted from me and exploded in an area around me. Due to my tiefling heritage, I was only slightly hurt, but the boy who started it all wasn't so lucky. The boy's family wanted me expelled from the Institute, but Professor Durnick fought to have me stay. The tribunal agreed to allow it, but he was to watch over me and make sure I never used my magic again. He agreed to do so, but in secret trained me to control my powers. It was mildly successful, but I still lose control from time to time. Years passed, and one day I overheard the tale of a woman who was kidnapped and taken to a cave. I felt this was my time to finally become the hero I always read about. Little did I know I would get lost inside cave, but I would meet my found family. We've had so many adventures since, and things have been great. Well, that is until half of them disappeared. Pulled through time, and I was unable to stop the magic, and it broke me. And that's when I came to take the lead. Nice to meet you, finally. I'm Hades, Apollo's other half. See, Apollo is very innocent and has a hard time dealing with extreme stress. During a few majorly stressful moments in his life, I've taken over to get him through those situations. That first came to be during the whole business with the bully and the fireball. At least that was the earliest memory. I lived deep in his consciousness, seeing and hearing all until I'm needed. His friends being split and sent into the future 10 years was just the needed push for me to take the reins again. The only problem is, for the next 10 years, I stayed in control and couldn't talk to him. So for the last 10 years, I've been running around having a grand adventure with Dahlia and Gaiju, who become like siblings to me. Stories we could tell. I could write a book. Anyways, I eventually reconnected with our friends and have been traveling since. Oh, and Apollo has started talking again, taking control for short periods of time. Perhaps he'll take back over soon, and I'll go back to the dark corner of his brain that I usually stay. Which is good, right?
I'm Dara Mullane from Currants Gap. My family's been the town blacksmith's time out of mind. So that's what I learned, and what I thought I'd always do. My little brother Aiden, though, he was different. Don't even know where he got half the books he read, and nobody ever really understood what he was on about. Some folks got more patience for that than others, and some don't have nothing better to do but make trouble. Fenton Antery was one of those. His daddy owned the mine. He figured that meant he owned the rest of us, too. One night, Fenton had been wasting time and his daddy's money in the tavern. Took some kind of personal offense from Aiden just being Aiden. My brother was on the ground when I got there, and, well, it's kind of a blur after that till they dragged me off. I'm told Fenton ain't never been the same since. With what passed for justice in the mountains back then, that was more than enough to get me clapped in irons and shipped off to some other mine. It was 12 years before the new Aberrant soldiers came and told us the mine bosses weren't going to be a problem anymore. Whatever we were in for, You would be forgiven, and we'd be free right then and there if we joined up. Seemed like an easy choice, to be part of the folks aiming to bring peace and justice. And for a while, it made sense. I even heard my brother got to go off to some fancy school to learn magic. I swore my oath to Kokobiel, angel of the moon and stars. Only it turns out she ain't what she's supposed to be, and neither is New Averant. It's all complicated. And my team, Goliath, well, they're mostly all smarter than me, but even I could tell when there wasn't no choice but to leave. So we did, and here we are. What happens next? Well, that's anybody's guess.
I never put much stock in families. My own sold me off to the black market to make money off the child with wings. I was nothing but a skinny street kid with broken wings from trying to escape. That is, until the Order of the Fallen Star Soldiers rescued me. My heroes in blue. I aspired to be like them and one day meet the big three, Soma, Geneva, and Aegis. My life turned around and I worked hard night and day to hone my skills and be the best soldier I could. I usually worked on my own until I was paired up with the most peculiar group of people. We were sent on some quests, our base was attacked, and I died. But don't worry, Dahlia brought me back.